How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Mike here. This is my oasis where I get in front of a camera and talk to you about whatever I want. Today we're gonna talk about how you can get your offer accepted no matter where you are. If you watch my previous video, I recently bought a house. I'm based in Atlanta, Georgia, and the real estate market here is just stupid. That's the best word to use for it. I think things are slowing down a little bit, but right now it's still pretty hot depending on which side of town that you're in. And I assume it's the same thing all over the country. Even people I know in Canada, in Europe, they're telling me the same thing. It's a seller's market. It's really hard for some buyers to even get in, talk less of get a chance to actually buy the house that they really want. Now, the factors I'm going to share in this video are pretty much things that we used to successfully buy a house in a crazy hot Atlanta market. So here we go. But before I move forward, please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. And now let's jump into the video. I'm gonna share with you 7 steps that you need to take. If you're in the market right now, you're looking to buy a house. These are 7 steps that you need to take, and I promise you, almost guarantee that it's going to work. I promise. It doesn't matter if you have multiple offers on the same house. If you use these factors, it will work out for you, because we did it, and we went from just begging for people to take our offer to just boom, shooting straight to the finish line. Number 1 thing you need to do is get the right loan. For the US market, if you're looking to buy a house, I'm assuming you either get an FHA loan or a conventional loan or a VA loan. There are different types of loans to be able to buy a house. So the first thing you need to do is actually to get that stuff sorted out before you even get in the market. You don't want to do that as second step, and I see some people doing this, and you're basically losing in this type of market. So by sorting the best loan for you, I really mean stay away from FHA loan if you can help it. Now, this is going to be detrimental to some people, especially if you're a first-time home buyer, but I'll explain why. A lot of sellers right now, again, it's their party.
Rhonda, are you going to this goddamn party tonight?
Oh, hi, Rhonda. Yes, I am.
Just think about it as it's their party. They can do and say whatever they want. And a lot of sellers are turning their nose to FHA loans. The reason being, one, FHA loan is a federal incentivized loan. If you were to default on your loan, the federal government is telling your lender that we'll back up this loan in case the borrower is going to default. That's the premise of FHA loan. Now, here's some things attached to that type of loan that some sellers don't like. For one, it can take longer for FHA loan to process, so it means longer wait time for both the borrower, but more importantly, longer wait time for the buyer, for the seller, which they're not so keen on, right? Second thing, FHA loan always requires a certain amount of due diligence and inspection, meaning you have to set time apart for the house to be, one, appraised. It has to be inspected, and during inspection, if the inspector should find something that the FHA deem not a good thing, say for example there's a foundation issue or something as simple as mold, right? The FHA process can fall completely apart. Because of those reasons, a lot of sellers don't even want to get on that train with you. They want something that's more sure and more beneficial to them. So if you can stay away from FHA loan, do it. Go for conventional loan, or even VA loans, believe it or not, are moving to, I would say, second or third in line compared to FHA. If you do go through FHA, you still have a chance, but understand that you're going to be all the way at the end of the line in terms of consideration. So I would think about that. Something I did forget to mention are the differences between your FHA and conventional loan, and why conventional is just more attractive. So if you're going for FHA, again, you get the benefit of your loan being backed by the federal government, but also FHA requires less down payment from the borrower. So with FHA, normally you're at 3.5%. So with 3 to 3.5% of whatever the purchase price is, that's how much is going to come out of your pocket in terms of your closing costs. And then actually, no, in terms of the loan, and then you have additionally some closing costs attached to that. If you were going FHA route, I would probably budget for about 6% coming out of my pocket. If you were going for conventional loan does require a higher down payment, and the average being about 5%. You can go anywhere from 5 to 10 to 20% down payment, but generally speaking, 5% is the entry level. Now, you may think there's not a lot of difference between 5% and 3.5%, but if you're buying a very expensive house, say the house you're looking at costs $500,000 or $2 million, then you're talking about 1 to 2% difference. 1% of $2 million is $20,000. Okay, so you want to make sure you have that calculation right. And this is one of the reasons why people choose to go the FHA route rather than conventional. But like I said, if you can help it, conventional is the best bet. Number 2, the second thing you should do is make sure you move all of your monies into one account. If you're in this market, okay, if you're shopping for a house, you want to show face value. So I would move all of the money that I'm going to use either for my down payment or anything else in regard to the purchase of this home. I want to move as much money as I can into one account. So say for example, if you have multiple accounts, I'm just going to assume if you have multiple bank accounts and you have this amount here, this amount here, this amount here. Think about it. Even when you're submitting your paperwork, it can cause more time and some confusion. So I would move all of that money into one main account. And if you need to sell stocks or sell other assets to show more cash, then that's what you want to do. Reason being, and I'll tell you on number 4, number 5, I'll tell you the reason why you want to do this. But 1, it makes the paperwork easier for the processing of your loan. 2, it also shows the seller that this person means business. So make sure you move all of your money into one account. Also, once you move your money to one account, you want to stay out of that account in terms of spending. Do not spend any money out, because once you start going through your loan process, then you're going to have to justify or give them proof of why you're spending XYZ. You just want to make things much easier for you. Do not touch any of the money you move into that account. Stay away from it. The whole point is to use it for your loan process and also to show face value for the seller. Now that you've got your money and your loan sorted, number 3, you're ready to make your offer. When you're making your offer, I want you to please take into account how much you were approved for, and then you also take into account what's trending. For example, in a place like Atlanta, Georgia, when we were looking to buy a house, on average, as a buyer, you were offering $30,000 to $40,000 over asking price. Now that might seem like a lot of money, right? But guess what? In places like Canada, I've heard $100,000 to $250,000 over asking. Depending on your location, you may be spending $5-10 grand over asking, or you may be spending $100,000 over asking. So that's one factor to consider, but also consider how much you can actually afford. What I mean by that is this. So say for example, if your lender approves you for $400,000, what I would encourage you to do is you want to look at homes in the location that you want that are between $300,000 and $350,000. That way, whenever you do make your offer, then you have some room to pay over asking. Chances are in this market, you will have to pay over asking. Number 4, here's some more things to consider in the offer. When you make an offer to buy a house, you have something called due diligence. Due diligence is the amount of days that you have as a buyer to walk away from a deal. On average, due diligence is 7 to 10 days. But in this market, you don't want to put 7 to 10 days because again, you have so much competition. What I would advise is that you put 3 days, no more than 3 days for your due diligence. Again, you are risking your earnest money, which is money, some cash payment that you put down with your offer. That way, if you were to walk away from the offer for one reason or the other, then you might lose that money. If you're making an offer, make sure you put 3 days maximum. Generally speaking, the main thing that you want to do during due diligence is just an inspection. If you're sure that this is the house that you want, then you don't need more than 3 days. One way to mitigate the risk of possibly not being able to get inspection done is you could get inspection done before you make the offer. Generally speaking, you do an inspection on a property after you've made the offer during due diligence. But again, because of the market that we're in today, I'm advising you that if you can, you should get the inspection done before you make the offer. Generally, you have to ask for permission from the seller. And in our experience, again, I just bought a house too. 3-4 times we asked, hey, can we do an inspection? And they gave us the permission. Chances are you're not gonna get any pushback from the seller to get an inspection done before if you wanted to. Now, the advantage of doing that is the fact that once you've done your inspection, then you would know what type of fixes that house may need or how much it's gonna cost to do XYZ. That could also influence how much you're willing to offer for that house. My advice is get inspection done before you make the offer if you can. And again, it is a risk. Inspection on average costs anywhere from $350 to $500 depending on how big the house is. It is money that you're technically risking, but if it's the house you really want and there's a chance that you will get it, I think it's worth the risk. Now, if you decide to do the inspection after your offer has been accepted, again, you have 3 days. You should have 1 or 2 inspector on speed dial. Home inspection shouldn't take that long, and that was the case for us. Like, I had at least 2 companies that I've used before, and I let them know, hey, I'm in the market right now, so please be ready. And they said, sure. And sure enough, once we got our offer accepted, within 24 hours, we were able to get the inspection done, and we were comfortable with the fixes that the house needed, so we stayed in the deal. For you, if you're just making an offer, do not go over 3 days for due diligence. Number 5, in your offer, get rid of the letters. So this is a very common thing that we all do whenever we are buying a house. You want to write a nice letter to your seller so they can get some emotional connection, right? But here's the problem. We actually started doing this too when we first started looking for a house. But one day, actually it was 1 a.m., I sat down and I was frustrated the fact that we don't even hear back a lot. So the house we ended up buying, it took about, I think it was the 24th offer. So we had made so many offers before that. I was just frustrated that so many of these offers that we're making, we're not even getting a call back to say, hey, sorry, we're moving on. That's how competitive it was. And then I thought to myself, I actually texted my realtor. I was like, hey, can we find out how many people made a bid on this house and this house and this house? On average, I saw that the houses we were making offers on were getting 20 other offers. 20. Now, that may not seem like a lot, and again, depend on the market that you're in, but 20 is a lot of offers. And I remember one specific house that had 84 offers on it. Now, knowing this, I thought to myself, if I was the seller, would I be reading 20 different letters? Would I be reading 84 different letters from 84 different people? And the answer was no. I just would not have the time, nor would I even entertain reading a letter so I can get emotional connection with you. I just want to sell my house and get out. So once I came to that conclusion, we basically eliminated using letters. And I'm telling you that too. If you're in the market right now, there's no use for your letters. I promise you. If it was a buyer's market or the market wasn't as competitive, then you can write all the nice fluffy letters you want. But in this type of market where you're getting multiple offers on every single property, you probably want to stay away from using a letter. Number 6, we're moving along. Number 6 thing I want you to do is to submit your bank statement with your offer. Typically, you don't have to do this. And generally speaking, this is not something that's done. You generally will show your bank statement to your lender, not the seller. But because of how competitive the market is right now, and because some sellers have been burnt. As a matter of fact, I had a friend that got burned where a buyer walked away from the deal during the due diligence because they found out that they were not able to get all the money they needed for the down payment. And so is the case for a lot of sellers. One thing to make a seller more comfortable is that you show them your bank statement so they can see that you do have enough money to make your down payment and to cover the closing costs of this deal. That's what I'm advising you to do. Go ahead and submit your bank statement along with your offer. Now you ask, what bank statement do I need to submit? Remember, number 2 was put all your money into one bank account. You want to show that particular bank account that has the most money. Again, that way you can show face value and the seller can see and look, okay, this person has enough money for us to close, so I'm not going to be anxious about that. It's a way to push your position forward in front of the seller, and that's what we did. Number 7, you need to make an offer over the appraised value of the house that you're looking to buy. Generally speaking, every property has an appraised value. As a matter of fact, your lender wants to do an appraisal every time they're giving you money or they're lending you money. In this market, at least whenever we bought our house and before that, you had a lot of houses that were being appraised under what they were selling the house for. Say for example, if I listed my house for $500,000, but the house really, according to the appraisal, is only worth $450,000 or $400,000, but because the market is so hot, somebody is willing to pay me $500,000 for the house. Now that's great if you're the seller. But if you're the buyer, that's not a good thing, especially with your lender, because your lender uses the appraised value of the house as a big factor to determine your loan. They will not give you more money if the house is appraising for less. So what this means is you're going to put in your offer that if this house appraises for less than what we're offering or less than what you're asking for, then I, Mike, will cover the rest of the money. Again, this is another way to make the seller feel all nice and cozy, because a lot of sellers do want to get the highest amount that they can for their house. If you're telling them that, hey, if my lender decides to lend me less money, then I'm going to cover the difference. That's all that means. And honestly, I encourage you, if you have the funds available, that you should offer up to $15,000 over the appraised value of the house. Number 8, this is the last thing I want to mention. Now, I thought about using this as a clause because we had it in our offer, but now when I think about it, it may work or not work. So take this one with a grain of salt. The last thing I want to mention is that you want to make your closing time short. Now, again, this may work or may not work. I'll tell you why. Just like your due diligence, you want to show the seller that you're able to close on your loan and on the house within, say, a month. In our case, we did 2 to 3 weeks. So the faster you're able to close, the more attractive the offer looks. But guess what? This may actually backfire, because what seems to be happening is a lot of people who are selling their homes are also looking to buy another house, which was the case for myself and was the case also for the person who sold us our new house. Whenever I sold my house, I had to ask the buyer to give me additional 30 days for me to live in the house and sort out buying the next house. Same thing happened to the other house that we bought. The seller also asked for an extension because they were also looking for their next house. So you have this cycle that's happening where almost maybe not almost, many times you have sellers who are selling because the market is ripe for you to sell, but also the dilemma every seller who does that face is the fact that they also have to become a buyer. They also have to go find another house to buy. So it's I tell you, right now is the best time to be a realtor because everyone is buying and selling. So I would watch out for that. But it's just another thing you could put in your offer to make it look more attractive, is the fact that you're willing to close in a shorter period than, say, 30 days or 45 days or 60 days. So I think that can help you look attractive, but in reality, it can mean nothing. All right, so these are the points and factors that I want you to please use if you are seriously in the market right now looking to buy a house. I've read so many different comments online, and even myself, I was one of those frustrated buyers. There's a lot of things that can go into your deal. There's a lot of things that could break it, and there's a lot of things that could make it. I'm telling you, and I'm giving you the blueprint of exactly what we did to get our offer accepted. We made these changes, and literally within, I think it was 2 offers. We made an offer for the house we bought, and then we made an offer on another house. 1 out of 2 was it. Before that, it was 0 out of 23. That's why I said I can almost guarantee that if you follow this, it's gonna work out. And if it does work out, please leave in the comments. I want you to come back and let me know if whatever I said in this video did help you out. Okay, I hope somebody can use it, and I hope you do buy the house that you've always wanted. Be very careful. It's crazy out there. It's a seller's market, and if you're a seller, man, go get your money. All right, thank you all so much for spending time with me, and thank you for watching this. Again, please give the video a thumbs up. Also subscribe if this is your first time, guys, and I will catch you on the next video. Peace.